And yeah, we'll get things rolling. So welcome to sort of the celebration of the launch of our college and career readiness unit for elementary school youth. We are excited. This has been in the works for about 2 years now since I joined with Most. We've been talking about launching this particular unit, and we finally got it put together this summer and everything. So we're super excited to be able to expand that college and career readiness toolkit down into the elementary school years, just so that we can start those conversations really early with the youth that are in our programs and everything. My name is Crystal Snyder. I am the learning coordinator with the Maryland Out of School Time Network. I have been working with Most for about 2 years now. I have actually two daughters who are in college, so I am a recent user of college and career readiness. Not particularly using the toolkit at home, but I've been through the college experience and everything. And with me today is Ellie Mitchell, our executive director. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ellie Mitchell. I am the director of Most, which I have been forever now. I feel like it's been a long journey. I also have just sent my first child to college. So I have also had this own personal experience in this process. And I actually have used the toolkit at home in the time that I have been learning about this work. And we are super excited about all the new resources we have, in addition to the elementary school focus unit. We've added some playbooks and worksheets, and we also have these great online courses that you can take. So we'll talk more about that. I know we're going to plug it at the end, but I'm going to plug it at the beginning too. That we have our Maryland United for Youth Conference coming up November 14th and 15th. Registration is open, and we should be announcing workshops very soon in the next week or two. Yeah, it's just going to be a really exciting conference, and it's going to be right here in Baltimore for the first time ever. Actually, we've hosted probably about a dozen or so conferences across the 15 years I've been here, and not a single one has been in Baltimore City yet. So we're super, super excited to have it here where our home base is. So thanks for being here. I'm not going to be able to be here for the whole webinar, but did just want to say hello, and Crystal will take great care of you through the rest of the time.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Ellie. So it looks like some of you guys have, some experience working with college and career readiness for our youth and everything. So this is great. Want to just take a couple minutes and introduce you to the actual toolkit. I'm going to drop the link in the chat if you want to take a look, but we'll also, I'll share my screen and we'll pop over to there as well. But that is the link. So things that we'll go over today is just how OST can use college and career readiness in their programming, just an overview of our toolkit, and then we'll really kind of take that deeper dive into that elementary school unit and kind of what it means to work with elementary school youth, how to introduce it into your programs, how to set the culture of success for your students, and the expectation that everybody's going to go out of your program with at least an idea of what they want to do once they are finished with high school and everything, whether that's going on to a career, whether that is military or some other option, or it's college. So it's not just making sure that every child goes to college and everything. We know that's not for every student. So we'll go right in. So let's do a quick poll. What do you think the role of OST programs should be in preparing youth for college and career? A, none, that's the school's job to support the work schools are doing. to supplement school programs with their own initiatives and activities, or D, establish our own comprehensive college and career readiness program in addition to what students obtain through school. So you can go ahead and drop your kind of opinion in the chat. It's definitely opinion. There is no right or wrong answer, but what do you feel is the role? See, to supplement school programs? Yeah, absolutely. Because they're doing it. They're getting, stuff in the schools and everything, and we are here to, to work with them. All right, fantastic. So yeah, um, what the College and Career Readiness Toolkit can do is actually help you to supplement what schools are doing. It is a career readiness program that you can continue to work with and everything. So there's all kinds of things that you can find within our College and Career Readiness Toolkit. Okay, so what can you do? So let's talk a little bit about the roles of programs. So the three main roles is just raising those aspirations among our students and everything, having them think about what their future really is, fostering those 21st century skills, just thinking about, a lot of times you get that on the job training and everything. So thinking about those 21st century skills that can help people just be ready to actually take on the role of working in an office or in some type of job, and then connecting youth with the workforce, particularly STEM careers. So we really just want to think about have them think about what is the future, what kind of jobs, what interests me, in the future. How can I make my future successful? So OST programs can start a critical role by starting early and continuously incorporating career and college readiness activities, culture, and mindset. So we want to think about that culture of, success after high school. We want to provide guidance and support and inspiration for students' career and college pathways. Generally, in OST programs, we're working with smaller groups than high school, or than teachers are in classrooms and everything. So we can talk a little bit more individually about their career aspirations, their future aspirations, and kind of tailor our programming to what the youth in our programs are looking for, and just help remove barriers and open new avenues. So just help them, think a little bit broader and expand their horizons. Okay, so you can either drop the answer, your answer to this question in the chat, or you can come off mute if you would like to, and just kind of, talk a little bit. But what do you think is the biggest hurdle you face in implementing college and career readiness activities with your youth?
Crystal, I will add that even though our high schoolers are very interested in this type of conversation, the problem that I have seen or witnessed is that many of the youth are involved with a lot of activities, and so really getting their time to say, hey, all the stuff that you're doing is great, but let's start thinking and talking about this process, like life after high school, to even get them to really say, let's keep that track. It gets a little bit finicky because it's like you meet them today, the next time they are not available. Those kind
Yeah.
of, yeah, so.
Yeah, that consistency, and one of the things that we'll look at a little bit further in these when we kind of talk about some extra resources that we have, is we're working on, as Ellie mentioned, those kind of playbooks or playlists for this program. So it takes kind of a lot of the activities and just makes them like quick little things that you can do, whether it's, you plan it over 8 months or you plan it over 8 weeks, but there are like 8 activities that we take that can just kind of pop them through this. So it doesn't have to be every single week for the entire school year. that you're doing this. You can do it in kind of smaller chunks and everything. So that might be something that you can think about. We talk a little bit about incorporating families into it. So you can make it sort of a family activity, or something like that. So there's all kinds of different, ideas ways that you can kind of pull the youth in just to make sure that they really are thinking about their future. Because while playing baseball is awesome, or playing soccer is great, and everything, we want them to think about, what are they going to do, past high school? Are you going to college to play, the sport that you've been interested in since you were 7? Or, do you really need to think about, a career, or, joining the military or something like that? And I see, Tia, you popped in the chat that you're a library and don't see the same youth regularly. Yeah, so that's kind of the same thing that Letitia was saying. So, making it an actionable program, might be something that could be super helpful to, and hopefully this toolkit can kind of help solve those, like I said, the playlists and everything can kind of make it an 8-week program, or something like that. And the great thing about the toolkit is it's not a full curriculum where you have to go piece by piece by piece, but you can kind of throw out, you can, choose a unit and work on the activities from that unit, or just, do one particular subject that's within a unit, and, really kind of pull them in, and then hopefully that gets them to want to continue to come back to your program. All right. So yeah, some different barriers, hopefully, like I said, as we're going through the webinar today, we can kind of address some of those and kind of help you get over those hurdles and everything, with our toolkit, so that you can see sort of what's in it. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I dropped the link in the chat, but you can also follow our bit.ly, which is most CCR, and that will take you directly to the toolkit. But I'm going to stop the slideshow, and I'm just going to slide right over to our homepage. So if you lose the direct link into the toolkit or anything like that, if you go to Most's homepage, which is mostnetwork.org, you can find it right there. I know sometimes we lose, we misplace links and things like that. But if you go under initiatives, college and career readiness, it'll bring you right to that same page that those direct links will bring you to. And the toolkit, again, was originally written for middle school and high school programs working with middle school and high school youth. And then we have now expanded it to include our elementary school unit. So the first 6 units of the toolkit really kind of focus on, there's great information in there about just helping all youth become college and career ready. And then that 7th chapter, that 7th unit, really breaks it down into how do we do this with our younger youth, like, how do we have those conversations and things like that with our youngest students. And then as we go through, it's all a drop down, so you can click on here and then download the unit, and it shows you just all the things that are in there. There's a family guide for getting children future ready in elementary school. There's some activity guides that can help out with implementing the program and everything. And then we have this new activity playlist and workbooks. Like I said, right now it's just middle school playlist that we have. We kind of tested that with a few programs in Baltimore, and it was a great success. They really liked the playlists and everything. So now we're expanding out. We're going to do elementary school is in the works. It's written. We are doing our first read through and everything. And then hopefully we should have that out pretty soon. And then after that, we will do the playlist for high school as well. So then we should have, right now, the middle school playlist, you could bump that up for high schoolers as well. So if you work with high school students and you're trying to figure out how to implement this, definitely go ahead and take a look at that middle school playlist. So the one that says CCR playlist, that's kind of the educators handbook, if you will, and then the youth workbook obviously is the activity pages and the workbook pages for the youth. And then We also have free college and career readiness courses. So there are additional courses on our CipherWorks platform. We just launched the elementary school training, but there is a middle school and a high school, and it's both the engaging youth in high school, engaging high school youth and engaging middle school youth, and then there's also an engaging elementary school youth. So those are additional courses that you can take for the to kind of get a little bit of different information about how to implement this into your programming. So that is where to find everything, and I'll go ahead and we'll go back to the elementary school unit, and we'll kind of download the unit here so you can see what it looks like. It is something that if you wish to print out, you can print it out. It's 58 pages, so that's a lot of trees. But it's something that you can just kind of scroll through. It's a PDF. You can download it onto your computer if you find it easier to access things that way, or you can just kind of scroll through. All the links are live, so if you click on them, it'll take you directly to that resource. We are looking into seeing how we could maybe make it into an ebook so that it's a little bit easier to read online rather than scrolling down through PDF pages continuously, because the entire unit, as you can see just into Unit 7, is on page 168. So there's a lot of pages in the entire toolkit. So it would be a lot to print out. So we're trying to see if we can make it into an ebook just to make it easier to access. But there's all different things. There's some highlighted resources. There are activity pages that are in here that you can click on. You can download them and print them out for the youth in your programs. So all different kinds of resources and everything. So it's really kind of a one-stop shop, and you can just kind of pull out pieces that are relevant to what you are doing with your youth at the time. All right, so let's pop back over to our slideshow again. And we'll just kind of go through a little bit more about the toolkit. So like we said, there are different units. So all 7 units are now live and ready to roll. So we start with just the overarching principles of college and career readiness. Why are we doing this? Why is it important? Guiding youth through college and career decisions. So those early things, just kind of getting to know themselves and thinking about, what should be happening or could be happening in their future. Some foundational skills. Then we talk a little bit about career readiness. Then we talk about alternative post-secondary options. Then we talk about college readiness. So it's not just how to get kids into college and everything. It's really helping them think about and explore, like, hey, what does my future look like? And then, Unit 7 is bringing it down for our elementary school kids. So again, it's practical how-to activities, additional resources. So there's a lot of stuff in there, and you can just kind of pick and choose what works for your participants in your programs and everything. Increases exposure to opportunities for youth. So some kids just don't hear about, or have the opportunity, again, to think about what their future looks like past high school and everything. They know they've just got to get through elementary school. They've got to get through, middle school and high school. And then what do I do after? So it just kind of starts to open up those conversations and that little bit of exploration. And it really starts to bring that intentional career and college readiness activities to all youth. So again, we want to make it intentional. It's not just that all of a sudden it's, something that just kind of happens in our program and everything. We're making sure that it is intentional and that we are doing those planned activities and we have good content for our youth. So what you all came here today is how do we, really use it with elementary school age youth. Before I go on, are there any questions, any wonderings, anything I can answer before we move to kind of really talking about how to use this in elementary school and what to do with our elementary school youth? All right, well then let's keep rolling. So Unit 7, we have some subtopics, just making the case for CCR in elementary school. So, why are we using it? If you need to go to funders to get additional funding to sponsor this program and everything, like here's some tips that you can talk about, why we should be making the case. Or if parents are like, don't start talking to my kids about careers when they are only in kindergarten, there's some facts that are there that you can really help kind of get that excitement rolling, or even your staff to get that excitement rolling for talking about college and career readiness with elementary school. And then how to build that culture within your program, that culture of success post secondary education. We'll talk a little bit about what it can look like in the elementary grades, how to engage our families, get them on board with these early conversations. There's a section on pitfalls to avoid. So again, we're not making kindergartners, we're not making 5-year-olds decide today, like, what are you doing in your future and everything. And then there's some great resources at the end that can help you get ready to implement this into your programming. Okay, so let's talk about making the case. Let's talk about that first bullet point. Is it too early? Like, does anyone think that talking about college and career readiness in elementary school is too early? What are your feelings on that?
I don't think it's too early. I think the earlier we begin to plant the seed, and for some of our youth, even give them the hope that they can dream and they can do, the more motivated and encouraged they're going to be.
100%. That hope for the future, because some kids just, because of situations, they can't see past, even next week. But if you're starting to talk about future, they can start to think about future and everything. Fantastic. Yes, absolutely. And, aren't we already doing this with our youth in some ways? We talk about career days. We bring in, maybe we talk about community helpers and, community service. We talk about, police officers, and we talk about, firefighters, and, we celebrate Fire Prevention Week, and we celebrate Dental Awareness Week and things like that, in our elementary school programs. So, the next logical step then is to talk about not just fire prevention, but what it's like to be a career firefighter, and things like that. So just thinking about those things. We have college spirit days. Sometimes some of our staff, or we walk in with our college sweatshirts on, and kids see those kinds of things. So we can start to make that a part of our culture, that we're just really thinking about those future things. It's definitely not going to look the same in elementary school as in middle school and high school. Middle school, high school, we're starting to have them really think about those concrete things about their future and starting to make decisions, whether it's getting the right classes in middle school so that they can get into, if they want to go to a specialized high school like Baltimore School for the Arts, or, something like that. Thinking about those things, getting them into those college prep classes in high school so that they are ready when they go into college, getting them maybe dual enrolled in high school so that they can graduate high school with an associate's degree, and then they only have 2 more years to get their bachelor's degree, and a few more years for masters and things like that. So we're not doing that in elementary school. We're just kind of doing all that early exploration and everything. And again, as post-secondary education becomes even greater, we need to start thinking about that earlier, because students who already know more about a topic, if they already have heard about it and they know a little bit about it going into those upper, secondary grades and everything, then they can start to make, those decisions a little bit more easily. Excuse me one second. I'm sorry. So again, like I said, the goal of CCR in elementary education is not focused on having 5 to 11-year-olds choose a career. We really just want to lay that strong foundation for college and career readiness that can be built upon as they progress to middle school and high school. We want to have that awareness, that exposure, and those experiences. All right, so, like I said, we're already doing some of the work we're working on those 21st century skills. We're talking about critical thinking skills with our elementary school units, creativity, collaboration, how to work together with other students and things like that. Those are the skills that employers are looking for, because the job market, when kids that are in first and second grade, when they are ready to enter the job market, they're going to be careers that we haven't even dreamed about. So we can't prepare them with those skills, but we can prepare them how to be good employees when they are in elementary school. So that's really what this unit focuses on, is just those early skills, those thinking about the future and preparing kids to be kind of good workers in whatever workforce they decide to go into. We want to focus on broader skill development and helping them craft a story of themselves. What do they like? What do they, what interests them? What are they good at? So let's talk about those broader skill developments. Like I said, those 21st century skills, are really important. Talking about those 4 C's, the critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, communication, those are all really important skills for the workforce. And just character development, making sure that they have, good character, that they are good coworkers and things like that. We want to make sure that we are supplementing their learning experiences that they're receiving in school. So doing those same kinds of things, working together, doing group work that they do in school, and doing that in our OST programs and everything will definitely help them to have those skills. We want to help youth craft a story of themselves. What am I good at? What do I like to do? What kinds of things interest me? We want to make sure that we are having them think about those things early, so that they can think then in the future, like what kind of jobs, when they're getting into middle school, high school, they can start to think about what kind of jobs go with those skills and things that they already like to do. So some of the things that we have, just a highlight of a resource that is in the toolkit is on pages 172 and 173, there's a graphic that highlights 10 potential benefits to implementing CCR activities with elementary learners. So those, it's just kind of something that we can look at right away, and it shows you those benefits of implementing CCR with our elementary school units. So then we talk about creating that culture, that CCR culture in elementary grades. Well, what does that look like? What do we think about going to college culture, but also just a culture of success, that we are going to be successful when we are adults. So we want to make sure that the environment, attitudes, and practices in our whole community encourage students and families to obtain information and think about, prospective ideas for post-secondary, whether it's education or a job and everything. We just want everyone to be encouraging our kids to think about their future and what it's going to look like for them. So we want youth to believe that they have a great future ahead of them, that they can plan and prepare for many options after high school, that they know what their options are for after high school, even at a young age, that military is a possibility, that a 2-year college is a possibility, that there are trade schools out there, that not everybody has to go to college when they go, after high school. We want to make sure that they have an appreciation for learning, that they have a desire to succeed, that they know that they can be somebody, and I want to be somebody. And then again, lifelong learners, having those academic, professional, and social emotional skills in those early years are super important for post-secondary success. So we want to offer students opportunities to learn about a variety of options for their future. And we can start to just introduce those things and let them, kind of just know that they are there. And then they can really start to focus on those things and really exploring what it means. But just hearing the words, community college, or hearing the words trade school and things like that are, important, so that it's in their brain. And then when they're in middle school, they can start to look at it, a little bit more second and third grade is not the time for them to be reading about what a trade school is, but just hearing, them talk about going to get a certificate in cybersecurity or something like that can help them, think about things in their future. We want to make sure that all of our staff, are conveying that all youth can prepare for the opportunity to succeed and be successful. It doesn't matter where you came from, it just matters where you're going. And we want to make sure that all staff know that all kids can get there. We want to make sure that all of our stakeholders, whether it's staff, family, community, funders, everybody are on the same page and they all communicate the same message of those high expectations for the future of our youth, so that everybody, again, it's making that culture in our program that everyone who steps out of our program is set up for success and knows that they can be successful in the future. Some benefits of establishing CCR culture in kindergarten through 5th grade. There's more time for that building awareness and exposure. They're hearing those words a little bit more often. They're thinking about it. We can give them activities and engage youth in those opportunities to explore career possibilities. We know that youth who decide early to go to college tend to get there more often. If it's planted in their brain for a long time and it's just something that they know that they're going to do from a young age, then it's there, rather than making that decision, a little bit later. Do I do this? Do I not do this? It's kind of, once they make that decision when they're young, they can carry it through. Families are more likely to send their children to college if it's part of our culture, if we've started to, really talk about it and encourage families to think about it. Schools start to send more students to college when everybody is talking about it and that's their focus. And we know that if low and intermediate income families, if they start a college savings account in their child's name very young, and it doesn't matter how much it is, that they are 7 times more likely to enroll in college than children with no savings, and then they're 4 times more likely to graduate. So even if you're telling parents just, put a couple of dollars away, for your child's future, if you've already got that money earmarked for, college or trade school or something like that for afterwards, you're more likely to use it for that distinct reason. So, we want to start thinking about those things. And it doesn't have to be that, by the time they're in middle school, we've got, $100,000 ready to go for college. Just having some money that's already earmarked is, thinking about that future and planning for it. Again, another resource that's really great in there is on page 150, 185 and 186. We talk about 7 ideas for being focused about implementing college and career culture in your program. And I will send you copies of all of these slides when this presentation is over, so that you can go back and kind of see those pages that we are highlighting in the toolkit. So what does it look like in elementary grades? Again, we're talking about thinking and written and verbal communication skills, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, knowing about themselves. We're throwing a little bit of financial literacy in there. So talking about how to, save for college, but also how to be financially literate, when you have a job and everything. We're talking about time management skills, getting the job done, and making sure that you have time for all the things that you want to do. Stress management, that's important even early on, teaching kids how to regulate, when they start getting overwhelmed and things like that, and listening and speaking skills. So, again, we're just building those good foundations that will help them in high school, because who doesn't need stress management in high school? High school is a very stressful time, but if they can build those skills early, they can take them into middle school, high school, college, and beyond with them. So again, we want to make sure that career development for young children in preschool, primary, early elementary is about helping them in the here and now, and not really focusing, so much on the future other than putting that idea that they can succeed, but giving them those skills that they can use now, that they can put into practice, and they just become habit as they get older, and developing that healthy sense of self and the competencies that will enable them to reach their full potential. So what are, some of those career activities that we have in elementary learning spaces? When we talk about career days, what do you want to be when you grow up activities? Even as much as thinking about dramatic play areas, and instead of just having a house in a dramatic play, maybe you're switching out and it's a post office or it's a floral shop, and things like that, where they can talk about jobs and what different jobs are involved in a post office, what different jobs are involved in running a floral business and things like that. Moving from generalized activities into more intentional career readiness activities. It's going to take a little bit of work. We want to make sure that, if we are setting up a dramatic play area, for a specific career and everything, that we're then talking to them about what are the duties of a mail carrier, what are the duties of the postmaster, what are the duties of, the clerk or the person that runs the counter at the post office. So just being a little bit more intentional about the things that we're working with our children. And OST programs we can make a big impact in that area. We can foster self-construction in youth. We could really talk to them individually because we have smaller groups, and we can have a little bit more time to really focus on each child. We can definitely be more flexible than formal education institutions, so we can cater and kind of move a little bit more easily. We're not locked into curriculum sometimes, so that's fantastic. We can definitely support individual interests and self-identity. We have more contact with parents as well. Generally in OST programs, they're coming in to pick their kids up, so we're seeing parents a little bit more often. Sometimes, the bus brings kids to elementary school, the bus takes kids away from elementary school, and if parents don't make that effort to come in at during parent-teacher nights and stuff like that, then there's not really as much contact. Whereas in a lot of OST programs, we're seeing parents more often. Sheila, yes, you have a question.
Not a question, just a statement.
Yeah,
one of the things when I'm working with out of school time programs, and I do a lot of work with early childhood programs as well. And one of the things that I've been sharing with them to sort of broaden the scope of what can be accomplished when talking with youth is, instead of saying, what do you want to be when you grow up, asking them, how would you like to impact your community? Or what would you like to give back to, or what would you like to give back to your community? Because I think a lot of times they don't know what they want to be when they want to grow up.
Yeah.
But they might know, oh, wow, well, and it could be, well, I want to be a male person because I see that they, make people happy when they bring. But yeah, I've been telling programs to even think about, and I think someone had put in the chat something about changing the language and the wording. And that's one that I've been sharing with programs to think about going beyond what do you want to be when you grow up to how do you want to impact your community, or what.
Yeah, I love that. That is a great comment. Thank you. Letitia, yes.
Yeah, like she said, what we have learned is that when we do our community helpers, we let them know that everybody's part of the community, and we are all contributing to our community, our nation, and our world. So we talk about the police officer, the nurse, the mail clerk, the cleaner. All these people are making a contribution some way, somehow. That's how they're able to fit themselves in to say, oh, they are helping the community in some capacity. So how can I also help my community? And so thank you, Sheila, for that.
I love that. I'm taking that note down and everything. How can I help my community? Yeah, and I think, again, language is very important for our youth and everything, because like you said, what do you want to be when you grow up? I don't know. I don't even know what I want to be when I grow up.
Right.
But, how
Right.
do I want to impact my community? How do I want to, make a difference in the world around me and everything? That's fantastic. Yes. So, kind of this toolkit combines exploration of self-identity, interests, skills, thinking about themselves in a variety of jobs and occupations. We provide that support with those loving, caring adults. We're trying to get family members and caregivers involved, maybe involve some mentors. And then that leads to those positive outcomes. The children have positive self-identity. We are encouraging natural curiosity. We're fostering that. We're helping them expand on their natural curiosity. We're giving them the confidence to think about what they can be, what their future can look like. Teaching them safe risk-taking skills, how to take a risk, and that it's okay to try again if that first risk didn't turn out the way you wanted it to be. Teaching them how to be lifelong learners and really appreciate the fact that you never stop learning, even once school is over. There's always an opportunity to learn, and that believing in yourself. So we want to focus on the importance of play in our younger students and everything. We don't want them writing essays about careers and things like that, but we want to focus on play and how they can use their imaginations to think about the future and things like that. Foster those imaginations. Again, just talking about careers, getting them talking about the different careers and things like that. And then we want to work towards building universal skills with our students. Collaboration skills, life skills, complex problem solving skills, critical thinking, those sorts of skills that, again, we don't know what their jobs are going to be, so we can't teach them specific job skills, but we can teach them how to be good employees. A great thing in the toolkit is there is suggested grade level content for career readiness. So what are we doing with pre-K and kindergarten? What should we be, working, what skills should we be talking about and things that we should be talking about in first grade? Thinking about tools of the trade, excuse me, driving dump trucks for, a construction worker or something like that. Wearing, suit and tie if you're a business person, or wearing scrubs if you're going to be a nurse, or things like that. And just talking about that career vocabulary, having those words in their brain. And then we get into 4th and 5th grade, we're talking a little bit more about post-secondary life, because 5th graders might need to start making those decisions, in middle school. So we need to start talking about it a little bit more. We can talk about what it means, what a career means. We can talk about salary and how much money that they could make at a job, what it's like, what a typical day on a job is, having them shadow different jobs and things like that, talking to them about, maybe going to work with their parents, and the types of training that's required for jobs. So all different, so it's kind of scaffold from, that early just thinking about career play to really thinking about jobs and training and the future and everything as they progress through elementary school. Pages 195 and 196 kind of have that chart that helps you think about what careers you can do with youth in those different grades. So introducing students to career and college exploration in elementary school will provide them the opportunity to establish a foundation for more in-depth conversations and explorations about their future in later years. So we just want them to, start thinking about it early, have that early exposure so that they can think about it as they, get older. We want to take that next step from those cute activities as they get a little bit older and really start to do those focused, meaningful activities. We want to take a career first approach. So think about what you want to do, how you want to impact your community, how you want to make a change in your world, and then start to think about what kind of training or what kind of education and things like that you'll need. Again, just focusing on that career first, gets them thinking about it and everything, and then we can, work on the details, a little bit later as they get older. So what is our role in this. So we want to guide students towards identifying personal interest. We want to support students in linking their interest to possible careers. So what do I like to do? What kind of jobs relate to the things that I like to do? We want to encourage students to express their initial thoughts about college. What do you think? Do you want to go on? Or, do you want to find a career that doesn't require additional education opportunities? And also explain to them that their views on that probably are going to change as they get older. So we want to make sure that they know that nothing is concrete in elementary school. Nothing's really concrete in middle school. I mean, even in college, you can change your major through college and everything. If once you get there and you start studying, something isn't good. So just letting them know that, no decision really has to be concrete, especially when you're in those early stages. Thinking about college related terms, just hearing the word college, hearing, studying and living in dormitories and things like that, just kind of, again, gets that, those conversations, and it just becomes a part of what they're learning and what they're thinking about. We want to make sure that they are having an awareness of college, what college is about, how the K-12 pipeline works, that they can move on and everything, and they need to study hard and build good habits as they get older, in elementary school and middle school and high school, and how, getting your homework done in first grade, excuse me, can help you have good study and learning habits the whole way through school and get you set up for college. Theming your learning spaces for college awareness, instead of traditional decorating themes, have posters, from schools, have pennants up from colleges around you. Talk to the youth about colleges that they hear of, and then maybe write to those colleges and see if they would be willing to send you kind of any swag or anything like that you can put up on the walls, just to decorate, so that when people walk in, they see that, oh, we're talking about colleges, we're talking about futures with our youth. Having, again, employees wearing, at college day, like what college they, they went to, talking to the youth just about their college experience and everything is really something that's important to get kids thinking about it, because they look up to the staff in our programs and they really want to hear about their experiences. Again, college day and college week, having those spirit weeks. Who in elementary school doesn't love Spirit Week? Just getting to dress up and do different things and just hearing about things. So having those activities, maybe taking a field trip or going to a local college or community college, if they have maybe a play going on or a music performance going on, and just taking kids and letting them actually walk onto a college campus for a specific reason, not taking a formal tour, but we went and saw the Morgan State University's band playing, and that was really awesome, and we got to see what a college band looks like and stuff like that. So just those kinds of things really help kids think about the future and everything. Again, college visits, virtual tours if you can't get your children away from the program, if you're having transportation issues or something like that. There's all kinds of great online resources that can help you explore and look at and watch YouTube videos and all kinds of great things. Just make sure they're official videos and not the ones that the students do, that can really help out. So activities for college readiness are on pages 203 and 204 in in Unit 7. So what else is included in this unit? How to engage families. So there's resources and tips for how to talk to parents and families about having those conversations at home, thinking about the future for their children. A great one is pitfalls to avoid. So some common pitfalls and how to avoid those pitfalls. How not to put pressure onto the our young scholars and everything on, you've got to make these decisions. You've got to know what you want to do. What do you mean you're in 5th grade and you don't know what you want to do with your life? We don't want to do that. So we want to make sure that we have tips about how to make sure that we are not falling into some of those common pitfalls. All right, so kind of had to go through that quick. There's a lot of content. I think we could do this for 2 hours and everything. So are there questions? Any comments that anyone wants to, any experiences anyone wants to share for a couple of minutes about our toolkit or anything like that?
Well, I think it's really solidify and also let me know that I'm not crazy, and that everything we've been doing is on the right path. And so now, whatever you guys have taken your time to gather, it will also make life easier for us going forward. And so thank you guys. But
Yeah,
it has
absolutely.
reinforced a lot of my thoughts and stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, and the great thing about the toolkit, like I said before, it's not a curriculum. It's not, you have to do this and build onto this and build onto this. It does have that building aspect to it, but you can jump around and whatever you can create it. You can kind of formalize it according to what your youth are interested in. And if yes, Genevieve, I saw you put in the chat. Yes, it is recorded, and I will share the recording out as well. But we will. But it's great because you can just kind of pick and choose what works with your kids. You can tailor it to what works with the community that you are serving in your program. Again, bit.ly most CCR is the quick link. You can always go to mostnetwork.org, which is our main site. It's under the initiatives. You drop it down, you'll see college and career readiness. So please visit it often, check out everything. Tia, that is a fantastic question. We have not gotten to the point of adding AI into it. We are working on some updates for the main part of the toolkit with adding internships and updating some of the portions on the FAFSA, things like that. We have not gotten to AI, but that is a fantastic next edit to go in, is how to use AI and those digital media as tools for doing exploration. I know personally, my my daughter, who is a freshman in college this year, she decided what she wanted to major in and what she wants to do in the future by watching a video online, a TikTok, that's what it was, by using TikTok. And she just started following this TikToker who, is doing the career that she was really interested in and everything. And, social media has its downfalls and everything, but if it's used well, there can be some really great information. Yeah, I would be a little cautious about using social media with elementary school and those younger middle schoolers, just because most social media, you have to be at least 13. We know that they're making their own accounts at much younger than that. But as a sort of public entity, like a library or a OST program or something like that, I would definitely wait and use the social media and things like that with the older youth, just so that you're not kind of if there is a parent that doesn't allow their child, but they're like, no, I have to make a TikTok account because they said we have to go watch these TikToks for, to find out about, careers and stuff like that. You don't want to step on any parental toes or, put kids or parents in a tough situation that way. But that is a fantastic question. Thank you for asking that. All right. So now just shameless plugs for our upcoming things that Ellie mentioned at the beginning. We have a couple more installments of our Lunch and Learn series, making the most of. So we have Making the Most of Technovations, which is inspiring girls in technology. That's going to be on October 10th. We have one that's using AI for test prep. So I know there was a question about AI. So we're kind of getting into learning about AI. It's still very new to us as well, but using AI for test prep. And then on November 7th, we have making the most of the science of literacy, which will be really great, just thinking about how we can work with our early learners, making sure that we're getting everyone onto correct grade reading levels, helping them with their homework, all those kinds of things, how we can incorporate that as OST professionals. We have our early bird tickets that are on sale for our Maryland United for Youth, so we're super excited about that. November 14th and 15th at the Royal Sonesta in downtown Baltimore. Beautiful views of the harbor from there. I'm so excited. And then if you are doing a lights on after school event here in Maryland, we have a mini grant opportunity for you. You have to apply by tomorrow is the deadline, but just one last plug for that. It just has to, you have to register your event with the After School Alliance on their Lights On registration site. And then you can apply for up to $300 in a mini grant to just kind of help supplement. I know sometimes we get funding and they say like you can't buy food or something like that with it. This $300, there's not really any restrictions on it. You can use it for whatever you need. So if you want to, buy food for your event, or you are need to buy extra supplies or something like that, just that extra money is really helpful. All of this stuff we've got going on, you can go to our Linktree, Most Linktree, our Bitly's Most Linktree, and there are links to all of the stuff that we have going on right now. So there's all different kinds of things. We have a Youth Ambassadors application that we are taking applications for doing some education with our older teenagers, how they can help inspire younger students in getting involved in STEM and those kinds of things. So please check out our Bitly, check out all of our links and everything. And I am sorry I've gone over by 2 minutes, but thank you all for joining us today. And again, I will send out an email with all of the links to these resources. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you all.